James Allen, in his book The Heavenly Life, said it really well. He said, "The secret of life, of abundant life, with its strength, its felicity, and its unbroken peace, is to find the divine center within oneself, and to live in and from that, instead of in that outer circumference of disturbances." So we could say seeming disturbances in relation to our vision. As we've been applying this information, we acknowledge that we live from the inside out with respects to our vision. Thus, nothing can disturb us unless we subconsciously allow it to happen. Our world is inside, and the outer reflects what we are being inside. Now, in the center of our consciousness, we find our awareness of being. And it is to this center, as he says, that we return to and release unnecessary belief identification in mind related to disturbances, to continue receiving inspiration from the infinite within and allow our vision to be realized in an effortless way. It is from this position that the entrepreneur never runs out of invention. The creative always feels inspired. In day-to-day life, we remain clear and we know exactly what to do. Now, I found that my visions happen regardless of whether I do what we are discussing in this video or not. However, I enjoy a flow-based journey to realizing my vision rather than one of unnecessary suffering. And if you do as well, then I trust you'll find this video to be very helpful. And so the ancients refer to this as being in the position of the observer. Returning to the position of observer, the mind is purified. Upon returning to this position, we also understand how to relate to the different experiences on the journey to realizing our visions. Ideas, hunches, insights, and perspectives are received within as one allows unnecessary limiting belief identification from the past to be released. In the Kybalion, it states, "Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet, all truths are but half-truths, all paradoxes may be reconciled." It also goes on to say, the student will readily recognize that in the mental states, as well as the phenomena of the physical plane, the two poles may be classified as positive and negative, courage to fear, activity to non-activity, etc. So if a person's fear-based belief in mind plays out, for example, as emotional turmoil and overthinking, it may be transmuted to courage by depolarizing themselves within. If the initiative that they are involved with calls for courage, upon depolarizing themselves, they automatically move forward with courage. Fear is thus then transmuted into courage as directed from their vision that they had once subconsciously accepted as fact. So the goal here is to depolarize ourselves as required if one finds themselves being reactive as a result of subconscious identification to unnecessary past beliefs. For we know that the world waxes and wanes, and as it does, it is our unnecessary identification with certain beliefs that cause emotional turmoil in relation to what shows up. Now, before we discuss the power of depolarizing instantly to the moment as needed, let's reflect upon some of my paraphrased notes here from William Walker Atkinson from his book Nuggets of New Thought to discuss the formless self, which is where the magic happens. He says, "We may have been accustomed to thinking of ourselves on the physical plane alone. When we think of the I of ourselves, we may picture it as a human body with organs. To one overly identified with this plane of consciousness, the body may be considered the real self and the mind a part of the body. They may as such seem to indicate that they are living on the physical plane alone. Others may picture their I as intellect or mind, having control of the body and its organs, and having its abode in the brain. To them, the intellect may be considered the highest self. They could be conscious of the wonderful workings of the mind, but might not be conscious of anything higher. Then there are those who have experienced that the I consciousness has ascended beyond the intellectual plane and is able to look back to that plane, and the one still further back, the physical plane. I recognizes the value of both mind and body and regards them as expressions with which to express their infinite creativity. This I feels that it has existed from the beginning, if beginning there was, and will exist until the end, if end there may be. I feels a keen pleasure in mere existence in the now. I knows itself to be part of the whole thing, knows that the universe is its home. I knows itself to be from the great spirit ocean, from the supreme sun, from the divine being, adopting the body and a power called mind with which to manifest itself. I allows intellect to indulge in speculations, but contents itself with the knowledge that it is. It frets not itself with the problems of past or future, but lives in the now, and knows itself to be part of the whole. I knows that it cannot be destroyed or injured, that it exists in accordance with law, and it says trustfully and confidently to the Absolute, "Thy will be done." I knows itself to be one with the I of all living creatures, and knowing this cannot manifest hate, fear, envy, jealousy. It cannot despise nor condemn. I has but one feeling towards others and the whole world, and that is love. I sees endless phases of existence opening up to the vision. I has the courage of intelligent faith and moves forward cheerfully to the divine adventure. To one who understands this, the task of self-actualization becomes a labor of love. The inner form is the formless, the I. If you've never realized this truth, relax body and mind and indulge in a little introspection. Turn your gaze inward. Listen to the voice of the Spirit. Listen in the silence. Day by day, the voice will grow coherent. After long ages, you are coming in sight of the promised land. To understand the law deeply, one must acknowledge the existence and the power of the formless self, the I. So the simple acknowledgement of your formless self, I, is where all the magic happens. So let's relate this over to a practical example. Say one was working on a project and they were in the flow, creativity, inspiration, everything was happening and all was going well. And then all of a sudden they experienced a distraction. Perhaps they received a text message from a team member who mentions that a challenge is occurring with something that they have implemented. Now the person becomes reactive. They find themselves no longer in the flow and they experience a state of emotional turmoil and overthinking and no longer seem to allow themselves to receive the creative inspiration within. They have, as a result of their own subconscious belief within, polarized to the text message and brought themselves in a state filled with emotional turmoil. Now, nothing wrong with this happening. As a matter of fact, that's one of the best ways to start the depolarization process, full acceptance. I feel this way now and it's fine. And in that moment, they acknowledge the formless self. And from there, they no longer find themselves identified with that subconscious belief in mind and experience what James Allen suggested. Again, let's bring up the quote. The secret of life, of abundant life, with its strength, its felicity, and its unbroken peace, is to find the divine center within oneself and to live in and from that, instead of in that outer circumference of disturbances. So entering into the divine center of awareness, they observe without reacting, and then an idea shows up in mind of how to respond. Or perhaps they'll acknowledge that it's fine, and it'll take care of itself, as things often seem to do from the point of awareness, as discussed in Sunday's video, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. I'll link in the description to it if you haven't seen it. Now, as a result of bringing themselves back into the center and operating from that, they are able to resume the creative flow. This is because creation is complete, and what is really going on here in the divine center is receptivity. They receive creative inspiration and automatically express it. Now, as a person lives this way, they will find that returning to the divine center will become instantaneous. If in the beginning it seems too challenging, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. We apply the practice again and again without judging ourselves, and the inherent ability will become a daily way of life. So again, if you find yourself reactive, that's okay. Understand that the light continues to shine through you to rearrange your world. Everything happens by the subconscious, and we allow it to happen. And the way we don't react, which creates unnecessary suffering, is not by trying to not react or force ourselves, but rather returning to the formless self, and as a result, releasing that particular subconscious belief identification in mind by acknowledging that you are not that experience, you are not that belief. You transcend it all, and from this observer point, everything continues to flow in an effortless way to bring forth your vision. So if you've already accepted your vision as an established fact in mind subconsciously with self-suggestion, as creation is complete, we allow everything to unfold from within the divine center. And everything rearranges beyond perhaps conscious understanding via the power of the subconscious to make it all happen. So apply this, a simple act of releasing all identification as needed, in the moment, true unreactivity, and observe the magic that occurs. I've been doing this for many years, and it has never been known to fail for the simple truth that there is so much to this existence beyond the five senses, and via the power of awareness, it is revealed, as you allow the law to take care of everything for you. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You can say, via the power of awareness, my divine refuge, all roles are played, everything moves on its own body, the natural expression of what I accepted as true in mine, appears to move according to law as everything is done for me to allow my vision to happen in an effortless, flow-based way. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.